Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Nevada Unified regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. I want to thank you for your patience as we're running a little bit late again. I apologize for that. We had to get through some closed session issues, but we're ready to go now. So if you would all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, thank you. So we're going to take care of some official business. Our item 6 is the announcement of our reportable actions out of closed session, and I'm going to turn that over to Vice President Butler, who will make those announcements.
Okay, thank you. The board did meet in closed session this evening on 3 of the items listed. With respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session, public employees discipline, dismissal, release. That was information only to the board. With respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957 and 54957.6, conference with labor negotiator Barbara Varankovich, attorney with Janice Welliver Kelly, Employees Organization, California State Employee Association, otherwise known as CSEA, we gave direction. With respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957 and 54957.6, conference with labor negotiator Barbara Varankovich, attorney with Janice Welliver Kelly, Employees Organization, Nevada Federation of Teachers, otherwise known as NFT, we gave direction.
Okay, thank you. So then I'm going to take what will be my last official action here tonight, and that's item number 7, and that's approval of tonight's agenda. So I will look to the board and our student trustees for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. First by Trustee Aguila, her probably last official act, and seconded by Trustee Butler. All those in favor of approving tonight's agenda? We have 7 in the affirmative and 2 advisory in the affirmative. So tonight's agenda has been approved, and so we will proceed on to item number 8, which is recognition of retiring board members. And I'm going to let Vice President Butler run that part of the meeting.
Thank you very much. This is a big night. We've done this a few times where you have board members stepping down and new board members coming on, and it's a big change for a 7-member board. It brings fresh new faces to our board, but also we lose some real senior members who have really been an asset to this district. And this is a little bit of both Derek and Maria, but Derek, 17 years ago this month, you were standing here taking the oath of office, being sworn in, and guess who was swearing you in? Mary Jane Burke. And guess who was your superintendent? Jan Derby.
Full circle.
Jennifer Treppa and you were both being sworn in. You remember Jennifer, she served many years on this board and was also a great asset to this board. You've served with 13 board members and 4 superintendents over that time. Maria, 13 years ago, you stood here to take the oath of office and guess who was swearing you in at that time? Mary Jane Burke. And guess who was the superintendent? Jan Derby.
And guess who was board president?
Derek. Yeah, okay. Shelley Scott was also being sworn at the same time. 2 new board members coming on, and 2 new board members, you and Jennifer, coming on. So here we are today, and it's kind of interesting that there's a similarity. We have 2 new board members coming onto this board and 2 board members stepping down. So I thought that was just interesting. And guess who will be swearing in those 2 new board members? Mary Jane Burke. And guess who is our superintendent? Jan Derby. So over the course of the 13 and 17 years that you both have served, so much can be celebrated, as well as navigating some of the most trying times, especially during the pandemic. You both brought different opinions and sometimes similar perspectives. Your decision-making, leadership, and commitment to do what's best for our students has moved NUSD forward. As the educational landscape continues to evolve and shift, we have accomplished so much during your time on the board. We've approved new academic and social emotional programs that are serving students' needs, deepened our commitment to equity and inclusion, approved agreements for increasing staff compensation, improved our facilities through the passage of Measure G, renewed our parcel tax a few times, and hopefully we're going to do it again, enhanced technology and infrastructure. We've worked to make sure we maintain fiscal solvency and provide a safe and supportive a school environment. You both made a positive contribution to this district and the students we serve, and on behalf of this board, we extend our sincere appreciation for your service and dedication to Nevada Unified School District Board of Trustees. So thank you very much for your time, and we have some things we want to give you, which is the best part. This is a plaque acknowledging your service, but also your committees that you served on. Derek has been the JLAC representative for our district and actually co-chair for how many years? Very long, since the beginning.
Probably 15 of this.
Yeah, and that has been, you've made a real difference for Marin County in getting the message at the state level. So thank you very much. There's that.
Thank you, Debbie.
Yes. And we have this for you as well. This is your thing that was there, so you take that with you.
Thank you.
Debbie, can I get a picture of the two of you?
Yeah, sure.
With our poinsettias.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and then Maria, here's your plaque. This acknowledges your service and your committees, and especially Golden Bell is the one that you have done. So a lot of work on it, so we really appreciate that. There's that.
Okay, ready? There we go. Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you.
So, if any other board members would like to say anything, give a little something.
We'll go, it's okay? So Derek, you and I mean, it turns out your mom and my aunt were friends historically. We have both lived in the North Bay here for generations. And to share the duty and honor of serving this community in the public education system with you has been just an absolute treat. You and I are probably too much alike in some ways, so we tend to bump heads now and then, but our goal in terms of serving the community have been very, very uniform, and it's been my honor to serve beside you in terms of serving this community. Thank you very much, and good luck to you and that you're going to, now look at Alan Harris. He comes back and volunteers a lot, so there may be a model here where you can contribute to this housing project that we're looking at. I would be thrilled to work with you on an ongoing basis. Marie, you have been a mate of mine on this table, and you have respected me in times when there's been issues, and your stand that everyone has to have their own opinion and their own voice have been a very strong part of the makeup of this board, and I respect and regard you highly for that. I've watched you walk precincts and earn all 3 terms. You didn't get here by accident. You got here because of hard work and the commitment you have to the kids of this community and the diverse leadership that this board has provided, and I respect and honor you, and thank you very much for your service and your friendship to me.
I'll start with Maria, as long as we're on a roll with Maria. So, no, Maria, I want to thank you for all your time spent on this board, because your heart is huge. It's so deep, and your willingness to look out for the little guy, look out for the kids that are bullied, look out for the kids that need more. And, yeah, you do say, is that translated? But there's a reason why you say that, and I get it, and I really appreciate that. So what your willingness to make sure that we do that is going to be missed. I'm going to try to do it more, but you're a stalwart in that regard. Also, you've been a great partner. You and I have worked on a lot of cool stuff, and I really appreciate your support in times when things are a little sketchy in terms of which way we were going to go. But in the end, I think we had a lot of alignment on really just about everything, to be honest. And you're going to be missed in terms of just your your demeanor, your willingness to work with everybody, and your partnership. And your commitment. You put a lot of time into this. And to Ross's point, when it came time to work hard, you did. And you were always willing to do it. So thank you. Your time, it's well worth it. We really appreciate it. Absolutely. And Derek, oh man, we go back to what? Was it 99? when my little guy was out there playing football and there's this football coach out there screaming. Anyway, he wasn't. Yeah, coaching. But anyway, and then the next year, you and the other guy, the other Greg, came up to me. You want to be AD? And then that's how I got to know you guys so well. And so just people don't know, we worked together quite a long time in Pop Warner. And then eventually I did the same thing as you, kind of graduated out of that stuff and got into the real world of taking care of our kids. And really appreciate the depth of knowledge you bring to all this, not just in terms of the ed code and those sort of things, but just the budgeting and the numbers, and has given me a new respect for getting into JLAC, going up to Sacramento. I never really appreciated the depth of the politics involved in us getting our money. And it's ongoing, and there's a long way to go. And I would say there's nobody on this planet more committed to making that happen than you. And anybody who said in the past, even recently, that we just need to go up to Sacramento more often to get our money, really doesn't know what they're talking about, because you've been doing that solidly month by month by month for the past 17 years. So we're going to miss that, but I think we have some good folks who are going to step in and do that. But at the same time, also really appreciate your leadership. You're a very steady hand at the helm, and really appreciate your keeping us on task, and me included. And you're going to be missed, but at the same time, you're going to be around. So we're going to be working with you extensively. So I'm looking forward to that. But thank you.
So Maria, I want to start with you because you were one of the first people that I really kind of talked with and met with when I got on the board about 4 years ago. And I love the fact that you were giving me little tips and hints and things to remember when we're in closed session, and just all the things that you've always said in such a caring way, as we have worked together for the 4 years, and appreciated the fact that you bring a different perspective. And I think that that's been important and of value to all of us. I'm going to really miss seeing you around and having you here, and it's really been an honor to be at this table with you. And I thought I was going to be the one that said I've actually known Derek for 22 years and worked with you in a lot of different capacities. And this has been the best. It's been an honor and privilege to sit up here and learn from you and do the work for all of our kids of the district. And I'm excited to know that you're going to still be around helping, and seeing you out here with the teacher housing and the other projects. I know that you're not going to go away, so I'm looking forward to a whole new way of working with you beyond the 22 years of whether it be the North Bay Science Discovery Day or working at the Circle Bank and all of that stuff that we used to do. So you will be missed too.
Maria, I want to start by saying thank you. You've always been kind and open-hearted, and you and I don't always agree, but we are able to navigate that, and I appreciate it. And not to sound redundant, but you were always so open and willing to help the new guy, if you will, and I appreciate that so much. And I think I'm going to miss your kind of community reports and getting to know about what's happening out in the world that you bring to us. So thank you for always bringing that. Derek, I'm very glad we're going to keep working on workforce housing. That's fantastic. But I've always felt that your intersection of things that brings your perspective here that's unique is really, really useful. And I hope that somehow we can channel that. And that's that you work in private sector, but it's in an industry that has unions. And so you understand this world so well from so many different points that that will really be missed, and I hope that we can find a way to supplement that. Thank you for your leadership.
Would either of you like to say anything or not? It's up to you, Maria.
Yeah, can I, so I could say something about Derek?
Sure.
Okay. So like I said, when I first came in, Derek was president, Jan was superintendent, Mary Jane Swerson, and so yes, circle back. And so it's been quite a journey, and I want to first of all thank my parents, and I wanted to thank my family and friends who have supported me all these years, and it's been a privilege and an honor to seriously to work with all of you. You're also different, and you also bring a new. You guys say that I bring a new perspective, but everybody here has a certain talent. I've always said that, and I really respect all of you. And we may not agree, in many times, but I have a lot of respect for all of you, for the dedication and the hard work that you guys have put into this. It has been a privilege and an honor, like I said, and also a joy. And I'm very proud of how we've worked together all these 13 years. And I know that the new board will bring in a new perspective. I know in psychology, when you're in a group and a person leaves, then the dynamic changes. And so now 2 people are leaving, 2 people are coming in, new dynamics. And I know that the new board will continue to represent this community and all of the people in the community, and do the best to be able to do that. And please, soak in all this great information from all the people in this table, and just make sure that you include the silent voice as well. And my position here may be ending, but my passion continues to serve in the community. So call me if you need anything. I'm still, I think I'm still involved in some community stuff. Belong to the YMCA advisory board, and there's that connection with the NUSD. We're doing campaign racing right now. But so thank you for the current board right now for all the support and all the advice and all the help and that you have given to me, but especially to our children. And it is our children that you guys have always put in first. And so thank you so much. And thank you, Ross and Julie, and thank you so much, Diane and Greg, and for all the rides when I broke my leg. And so a lot happened in 13 years, And Debbie, thank you so much for your hard work, and of course Derek. Derek was my neighbor, 5 doors down, but never knew that till I joined the board. So, Jan, thank you so much for your leadership. So, and thank you for everything. And it's a learning experience, but I hope that more than anything, the students were the ones that have been learning. So, thank you.
I was kidding earlier about how I was going to pull out a big stack of papers and make a big speech, but I really just want to say a few things. And Maria, I want to recognize you. I remember our long conversations. I remember standing outside in the rain at times trying to work things out. And what I like about you and all the trustees is that we're doing all of you are doing this for the right reasons. It's about public education. It's about our kids. It's about one childhood, and we got to get it right to the best of our ability. And in the case, working with you, Maria, I knew that the success of all of us depended on each one of our own individual success. So it's always been my goal to work with you individually whenever I could, to hear what it is what you wanted, and to help, to be part of the solution that you felt would come forward, and we can work on the consensus and see if we couldn't come up with a solution to whatever problems we were facing at the time. It's kind of funny how you guys are bringing up things I've just completely forgotten about, going back so far, but that is right, Diane. We did work together so many years ago, and I knew that, but it's just funny that you brought it up. But I guess I've been a community service guy my whole life. So I'll just, say my thank yous to the superintendent. Jan, I'm so glad that you were able to come back and help us out. And I think I had 5 superintendents, and 2 of them were you. So that's a good way to go, And you need a good superintendent, folks, believe me. I'll just leave it at as I really think public education is an enormous of value to our society, our community, our state, our country. Just think of where we'd be if we weren't educating our children on an ongoing basis. And I know we can do a better job, and I know we all want to do a better job, and that's why I keep hanging in there. As stated before, I'm going to be around and help out. So it's been an honor, but it's time for me to move off the board. So good luck to all of you, and you've got my number, so call me if you need me. Otherwise, I'll probably be up here speaking to you for 3 minutes and 5 seconds. I'll see if I can get past the 3-minute mark. All right. Yeah. And a big thank you to the community, too, over the years for supporting me and for supporting public education in general. All of our schools need our help as community members to make them work. So without the community at large, I think we'd be in a lot worse place than we are. So
Thank you, Derek, for all your hard work and listening to me, and yes, standing out in the rain and listening to my points of view, which is totally different. But a lot of times we thought about the kids, and therefore that was the way we made our decision. So thank you for all the many I can literally say hours of just communicating with me and making things work and letting me also see things in a different way. So appreciate it.
okay. So
Do you want to add anything?
I would just say it's been a pleasure working with both of you. Your legacies are continuing. Yours, Maria, is going to be through the Historical Society with the Latino cultural inclusion, which you helped facilitate, which I'm so thrilled about. We're just getting started on that. And I know you're continuing with Golden Bell, so that'll be great. I feel like you were about 18 when you started. I mean, I remember those days thinking, oh, she's so young. And so
I looked like I was 18.
Yeah, yes,
now I got the gray hairs.
Yes,
Yeah.
and going to school and everything that you did. So thank you for all of that and your continued support as well. And Derek, we bonded around Paul and football and state championship. That was like such a great time for us. We enjoyed that, going down to Compton. And then I got to read Paul's dissertation when he was doing his master's and then his doctoral thesis. And so that was a thrill to see our students coming through and then going on to wonderful success. No, you're not going away because we have the Parcel Tax Committee for you and the Housing Committee. So we're ready to roll with you. And so thank you so much for everything you've done.
Student board members, Blaine, or you don't have to say anything. I didn't want to leave you out, so that was my only reasoning. So we're good. We'll keep going.
I don't know. Well, I think it's very sweet. You all guys are really care for each other, because I think when I look at people who are, have to make decisions, I really like that they get along. I don't know. I think you guys are really cool. That's my piece.
I just have to say that it's really crazy that you guys have worked here for that long and been so dedicated. So I just would like to say that I feel like that's really important to have people in an industry or in anywhere that are very passionate about what they do. So yeah, that's just my take.
Thank you.
Well, go ahead.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say to you guys, thank you for being here and being a good example for the rest of the students. And just remember, you're not social advocates. You're the voice of all our students in our schools, in each of the schools that you represent. And the board here is always eager to listen to your heart, not so much your head, but your heart, and represent all of our students. So thank you.
All right. Well, that's a lot of accolades. Take it all in. So I think what we need to do is stand up and do a little bit of applause and say.
Hey, boss.
I know now we're gonna be, now we both can.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna move on. This is bringing in our new board members. Mary Jane Burke will do our swearing in. This is the oath of office. So if we could have Abby and Magali come right up to the front here, and Mary Jane will take over. She's an expert at this.
Just a reminder how critically important it is, all the people here, that this community entrusts the most precious resource, right? The students. I mean, it's like the most precious resource. And one of the things that happens as they join this team, right? So as before, you're individuals, right? Whatever, you ran and said you were going to do whatever, get a new superintendent is going to be great. You both said that, by the way. But the point is that now you're part of a governance team. And it will be so critically important that the way that you interact, in fact, young man, your comment right there was of the most powerful I've heard, to have a young person say to the team, I like the way you guys all get along. Right? Because that actually says it all. Simply, right, but not simplistic. How critical it is that the team, works well together on behalf of the students. And then a reminder that this becomes a family affair. So while you are the ones that will be here, there's somebody at home, right, who's covering and taking care of and all of that. So to everybody, be reminded that there could be that moment that they need help, because they're here serving on behalf of the children of others, and in some cases their own, how critical it is that their families also will be serving. And so just a reminder. And I'll just say that what is so cool for me to get to hear, right, I got to swear in amazing people who are making such an unbelievable commitment. So with that, one other thing about the governance team part, that it includes the 7 trustees, but also the members of the overall team, whether it's the management or our teachers or our classified staff, that all work together with a single focus, and that's the students. So what I'm going to ask you each to do is you're going to raise your right hand. All right? And when I say I, you'll each say your name, and then you'll repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. This next part is the most important. That I take this oath freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations! Let's hear it! Get up there.
Yeah. Mary Jane, don't leave, so just sit right there. Just hold on. Yeah, just hold on. We're going to do a little swapping here, make sure everybody gets settled before we continue. Okay. So we want to welcome Trustee Lametta and Trustee Pickus. Woo! But first, I had Mary Jane stay because this is, she's rounding up her service as our county superintendent, Marin County superintendent. And I just want to thank her on behalf of this board for your 25 years as superintendent. 28. God, yeah, I should know that, but we have this amazing magnolia in the back that we want to present to you from this board and Superintendent Derby as well. That's going to go in your yard and grow and grow and grow. And I'm not going to say any more because I'm going to start crying.
Beautiful. So just for you all to know, this board, and some of them are the same people, but 22 years ago, my husband died. And they gave me a tree. So just for you to know, it was like a little tree. And it was like a tulip tree, grows tulips ultimately, beautiful. And so now it is a big, giant, beautiful tulip tree, and I have birdhouses all over it. So I think your planning now is you're thinking, well, she's 70. We better start with a bigger tree to make sure that she gets whatever. But just for you all to know, this is my hometown, right, Novato. I have felt so lucky. Usually big, large districts don't need a lot of support from the county superintendent. And so from time to time, when you get to do something that might add some small value, it's very special for me. And so to all of you who have had the chance to work with, it's been such a pleasure. I've just come from my very last county board meeting where I just swore in our new county superintendent of schools, John Carroll, and by the way, he's going to be amazing. And when I did it, I reminded them that I really get to be the county superintendent until midnight on January 1st. So I'm still here for, just to be clear. Don't be trying to take over. Yeah. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
So do we get to make comments?
No, you cannot have a long board meeting.
Yeah. It'll get delivered to your house, so.
Thank you. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
All right. Sorry about that, Ross.
I've been told how to behave by her more than one time.
You know where to find her. Okay, we're still moving along here. Some more other items before we get into the actual discussion action. This is the annual organization of the board as well that takes place at the second meeting in December. The board did have a discussion here at the board table about who would be the next leadership. So just to let the community know that, we did it in a couple meetings. We discussed it. So I will move right in. I'm gonna take a motion to nominate somebody for board president. Okay. You want to turn your mic on, please? We're doing
For
board
board
president.
president, I want to nominate Debbie Butler.
You go.
Yep. We're getting this in order here. Yep.
Okay, so we have a first
Well,
by trustee Miller.
Yep.
And I do accept that.
Thank you.
Are you seconding it? Yeah, okay.
Good. Thank you.
And we have a second by trustee Mack. So all in favor to have trustee Butler as board president?
Okay. Yeah, I hope you're voting for yourself. This is, if you're not that confident, you want to.
So we have, it passes 7-0 and 2
Advisory.
advisory or provisionary votes, please, from our student board members. Thank you very much. Normally we would do all this swapping, but we'll do that at the end when we take the motion, once we elect the vice presidents. And then now I move on and to somebody make a nomination for the board clerk / vice president.
Okay, now I'll jump in.
Ah, there we
So I was a
go.
little over eager earlier. So anyway, I'd like to nominate Julie Jacobson, Trustee Jacobson, as the Vice President.
Okay.
Vice President.
So we have a first by Trustee Mack. Second. Okay. Second by Trustee Pickus.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just, all those in favor to have Trustee Jacobson as our Vice President? 0 and 2 advisory votes. Okay. All right. So now we'll do a little bit of swapping. So Trustee Jacobson will come to my spot. I'll move over there. Magali will go down to Julie's. All right, we're going to get there. Hold on for 1 second. One of the other things we'll also do, and this is an annual thing that we do, is a representative for the Marin County School Boards Association. It's one of the trustees. Trustee Jacobson has been serving on that for the last year, I believe, or more than that, maybe 2. Okay. So I just wanted, we haven't really talked, because we have 2 new board members. Typically, we try to have a new board member that's come on take that role. So I'm wondering if Trustee Pickus or Trustee Lametta would be interested in serving on Marin County School Boards Association. Either one of you.
I wanted to nominate Abby Pickus.
Oh, okay.
And I am interested. I sent an email to find out about the dates and the times. I want to make sure that it aligns with all the things.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
Can we say a tentative?
Yeah, no, we will just nominate you, and if we have to change it, it's
Okay.
not the end of the world.
Great.
We can just that. So
Perfect.
So we have a first by Trustee Lametta, and second by Trustee Mack, and this is to nominate Trustee Pickus as our representative from Marin County School Boards Association. All those in favor? 7, and you guys can vote as well if you'd like. You're not opposed? Okay, so that passes 7-0. All right, and then, so now we'll dive into our board agenda, our board meeting agenda. This is the consent agenda. Is there any board members who would like to pull anything from consent? It's rather short for this agenda. Are there any items wanting to be pulled? I don't have any public comments.
I'll move the consent agenda
Okay,
as in total.
yeah, since nobody needs to pull anything. So we have first by Trustee Millerick, second for consent. Okay, and a second by Trustee Mack. All those in favor to approve the consent agenda?
So that,
You?
yep.
Trustee Aguila's gone, so now we need a second from everybody. She's our usual second. Okay, this is the announcements from the board and student board members. So I'll start with you, Blaine, if you'd like to do your announcements.
I just checked.
Right, here we are.
Yep. Otherwise, I'm confused.
Been pretty good at Novato High. We had our vocal concert on the 7th last week and our jazz concert on the 8th, both in the Center for the Arts. Pretty awesome stuff, a lot of talent. We're having our soiree this Friday. It's more performances from alumni, graduates of Novato High, and current students. I will be performing and emceeing it, so I recommend you guys to come. We're in the full swing of finals this week. It's very stressful, a lot going on, but it's super exciting. We're very excited to gear up for the break. And last week, our Spirit Week was super successful. We had a total of like several hundred people over all 5 days dress up, which is great. So we're good vibes going into finals.
So Marin Oaks, as always, has been very busy this past week, but especially because we're last couple days of our for the end of our first semester, and we're getting ready for our finals. Now we have some fun stuff coming up to all the board members and staff, I just wanted to remind everyone that we have our end of the semester celebration on Friday at 2:30 at the Hill Education Center library. We hope for all of you to join us. And I also believe there will be 12 open-ended graduates, including myself, this Friday. So I'm really excited. And we are very proud of all of our graduates and all their hard work, and we're very excited to see what they will be doing next. And yeah, we just wanted to share some fun things we have been doing this past couple days. We've been going Christmas caroling around our neighborhood and visiting our neighbors and just spreading holiday cheer. And yeah, this is something Marin Oaks does annually. And yeah, so we gave out our holiday cards and candy canes, and we sang some Christmas carols, so it was really fun. And yeah, and then also tomorrow our whole school is going to go see a play, so we're really excited about that. But yeah, that's it.
Thank you. No comments for this evening.
Okay.
I was able to go to the state championship game this weekend, which was so exciting. Congratulations to the athletes and to their coaches and their families. It was exciting to be there, not only because we won, but also because I was so blown away by the community that came out in the pouring rain. I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge the community support that I received over the past couple months, and talking with so many people, one of the things that I heard loudly from our community was how important our students are and how important our schools are to our community. I'd say probably 60% of people I talk to either work themselves in Novato Unified or are related to somebody who works in the district. I am really honored to be here to sit in this chair and to represent the people in this community. I'm excited to bring the perspective of a public school teacher to the decisions that we're making, and I'm really looking forward to working with everyone here to continue the work that you've done to make sure that our schools are safe places for all of our kids where they can be happy and healthy and continue to learn. So thank you to all of you who have helped thus far in onboarding me, and I look forward to doing the work. Thanks.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I wanted to thank Derek, Maria, and Mary Jane Burke for their many years of service. I also want to thank teachers, students, community members, and parents for their support throughout this journey. I'm really excited and honored to serve. I was born and raised here, went through the Novato Unified School District education, so it's an honor to be here. I want to thank also my family. I also want to say this in Spanish. So, hola, buenas noches. Quiero agradecer a los padres, estudiantes, a los maestros y a nuestros miembros de la comunidad por todo su apoyo, y estoy muy contenta en servir y comenzar a trabajar para la comunidad. Gracias.
I'm just thrown off. I'm looking forward to actually popping in and seeing you on Friday, although I just learned today that there is a minimum day at Sinaloa, so it will be very brief, but I'm excited to come and stop by and say hello. And I just want to acknowledge all of our teachers and staff that have been working really hard the last couple of weeks. I know it's been really crazy, and that we're all very much looking forward to a couple weeks off. And good luck to all the students on the rest of their finals.
First, just want to welcome Abby and Magali. I'm looking forward to having you guys on the board, your voices. It's going to be an interesting change in the way we do things, and I'm looking forward to it. In terms of what's happened for me in the last week or so, with regard to the district, did go out and follow up on some of the field stuff that some of the folks in the community were asking about, and have confirmed they're getting rolled, they're getting aerated, and there are plans to get them seeded. So there's good progress there, but we'll keep working on it and working with Tony on that to get it done. So On a more recent note, had the opportunity to go to see the MSA tour, the last one of the year on the 20th anniversary. And having been involved with MSA for such a long time and seeing the progress, seeing how it's run today, it is just amazing on just how fantastic this program is and the number of jaws dropped during these tours. That when people see what their kids can do in MSA, it's stunning. And then on top of that, beat our chest a little bit, the facilities that they're in are just top notch. It's just so good to see it all coming together. So really enjoyed that, and it really, to be honest, personally, it really made me realize why I do this job, and I was really glad to see that. On a more, recent note, follow up with what Abby was talking about, I was at the San Marin game, had an opportunity to be on the sideline. It was pretty mind-blowing to see how quickly they just took off on this team that, for those who don't know, was a vaunted team coming here. I think it's the last time they'll play a home game for a championship, but I think that'll change going forward. But really, congratulations to the players, the coaches, and everybody who supported them. And also, too, really want to point out something that's important. I think it shows the result of a lot of work that Jan and the staff at San Marin have put in terms of positive coaching. I saw the players on that field multiple times help the guy up that they had just knocked down. That is fantastic. That's about what the game is all about. It's a game. Help each other out and enjoy it. And at one point, I even saw the leader on the field tell the crowd to stop saying what they're saying. That's immense. That is leadership, and that's why we have these type of activities. So I'm really just happy to see that. But anyway, that's about it for me. On to you.
I was also at the football game, very fun. I wasn't as close as you, so I didn't get that bird's eye view. Welcome to our new trustees, so glad to have you both here. I got to go on a site visit this week. I met with a member of the student services team to get some information about some educational practices we're doing. I was at a parent meeting at Sinaloa that was very informative, and that's it.
Okay, some of the things were mentioned already. The MSA tour, I was on there with Trustee Mack. We did that. That was getting back to my son did MSA, so it was nice to see it a few years later, and the work that they've done. Modeling the Way as well. We honored 4 employees over at Olive, Sinaloa, Loma Verde, and the grounds maintenance and operations as well. And then I did attend the San Marin football game. Congratulations to San Marin on their 2nd state championship. And also, Trustee Jacobson and I did a tour at Hamilton today, which was nice to get back to that. My kids attended Hamilton. I hadn't really been back in the classroom. It had been a few years. So I wanted to get back in the classroom during the day and see what was going on. And that was just a great experience. And it's a hidden gem, believe it or not, there. I think it's a different perspective in the community, and we need to bring that perspective change back, and you need to go see the school and see the classrooms during the day. So that's it. Anything, Superintendent Derby?
I wanted to add a couple of things. We are going to honor the San Marin football players on January 10th, so they'll be here, especially Dom, the coach, is an amazing guy, and we hope that we'll at least be able to honor the seniors that will be moving on. So that's great. I just wanted to remind us that today we will be closing our meeting in honor of Sandy Vaughn, someone we loved very much. She served in the district for 19 years, Sinaloa, and then here. And then she was the CSEA president for many years. I don't even know how many, but a lot. She was either attended or watched from home every single board meeting until her final days. She was fun, funny, honest, forthright, and loved her Corvette, right? We remember that. So we really want to honor her. If you have a card or a message you'd like to send to her boys, they all went through our schools here, and we would have you give anything to us, to Ellen or to HR, and we'll make sure that the boys get it. So thanks so much.
All right, we'll continue on with our agenda. This is non-agenda public comment. If you'd like to I have several comment cards here, but anything on the agenda, so I'll just speak to anything on the agenda. If you'd like to speak to any item on the agenda or not on the agenda, please fill out a blue card. They're over there at the desk, and they'll be brought up to the board, and we'll make sure you get to speak to the item that you're interested in or a non-agenda public comment. We have 3 minutes per speaker. You come up to the microphone, and the timer is right over there. And I know many of you are already familiar with this, but I want to point that out at every meeting this is the process that we do. The timer is set at 3 minutes, and it'll count down if you can conclude your remarks as you get close to the finish. Otherwise, I will kind of politely ask you to wrap up if you go beyond the 3 minutes. Okay, so we'll get into non-agenda public comment, and I will, the first 2 speakers are going to be Michael Choli and Jennifer Baron. Thank you.
How y'all doing? Congratulations on our new board members. Appreciate the couple moments to share some thoughts. My name is Mike Choli. I've worked at Novato High for 17 years. I currently teach sports medicine and physical education. I've had many roles and responsibilities over the years, such as an athletic coach for several teams, an athletic director, department chair, and been a member of several leadership teams. In fact, some of you guys are on the board, have been here since my first day. So Derek just left. He was one. Since the fall of 2006, I've commuted down the 101 from Windsor, many mornings and evenings fighting traffic, stuck behind accidents and the ongoing construction. I made that choice because I loved where I worked. I love the relationships. I love the community. I love my fellow teachers and my students. Hopefully I made some type of contribution and impact for the students I taught and the athletes I've coached. Over the years, I've never considered leaving this district for another one, closer to my home and family. It has come as a great cost to my own children. I miss many of their volleyball games, soccer games, musical performances, and concerts. I miss many of their school functions that they would love to have their dad there. Things are changing, and the teaching profession has changed. The job of a teacher has increased tenfold. It is difficult. We are given much more responsibility with limited resources and support. We don't just deliver knowledge and content, we also teach and support our students' mental health, social, and emotional well-being. We are asked to be flexible, to change on a moment's notice, to respond to their needs. Many of us do it because we love kids, it's in our DNA. But again, this comes at a price. Our anxiety, stress, and depression has increased at an alarming rate with no end in sight. Many of us come home exhausted, tired, wiped out. We had limited bandwidth capacity to meet the needs of our students, our families, ourselves. Something has to change. There's a reason we have teacher shortages and positions going unfilled. It's not financially worth it. The job has become so difficult that many people don't see the upside. It's beyond the noble thought of making a difference. It's about fair and respectable wages. I would like to leave you with one last thought. I'm a veteran teacher with skills and experience. Our young and beginning teachers will not make it under these circumstances and conditions. It's just too much for them. They will either leave for another profession or leave for another district that pays them better wages. To me, that's a sad and depressing outlook. I just appreciate a fair and equal wage. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Barron. I'm a mother of 3 kids here in Novato. Two of them are special needs. Two of them were at Hamilton. Unfortunately, I had to remove them because Hamilton school couldn't get it together and protect my children. My kids were coming home with words that I never taught them. They were being called spick if they had a green card. Back to your country. I don't tolerate that. Most recently, my great niece's grandmother just told me that my niece is being attacked as well, being bullied at school. My daughter, JJ, goes to Olive Elementary. A parent had the nerve to approach my child because she defended herself from a little boy that was being bullied. Ms. Nuno took care of it. I still feel my child is unprotected in these schools. The other one I pulled out, she's at the Phoenix, and her grades are she's doing better at the school. Somebody has to go in and watch these kids because they're not being supervised. You said it's a gym at the Hamilton School, and that's not true. I used to chaperone some of the kids there. They used to call me in, and I used to sit in there when Steve Haspador was there. Only once I've been into this place, and that was to come in and make a complaint about my children's being harassed. It was never taken care of. Never. And now I'm here again. My kids are being bullied. My daughter was being bullied, and then a parent approached my child. Now my niece is being bullied. I've held my tongue. I don't go to the schools because I know how I am. I go from 0 to 100. Stephanie Parnell knows who I am, and so does Ms. Nuno. I'd appreciate y'all do something better for our kids. Our kids are being bullied. Y'all don't see it, but they're being bullied and they're being hurt. It's even gotten physical. My niece got slapped in the face. Her grandma's here tonight, too, to talk on this. I don't want to go on the school campuses because I know how I am, and I've learned to keep my mouth shut. And I've improved in that part. I used to go to the school, and I would try to protect my kids. The police officers know who I am. Not because I'm a bad mom, but because they know I'm going to protect my kids. But the bullying needs to stop. Parents need to stop approaching kids because they're going to get the wrong parent, and somebody's going to get hurt. So please do something for our kids. The kids are being bullied, and they're being hurt. And they're not being hurt by the teachers because my daughter has complained. She was to the point, 11-year-old telling me she wants to die. She wants to hurt herself because y'all can't protect, the school ain't protecting my child. My other one had to get taken out and put in the Phoenix school because she was defending herself. And she's doing better in that school than she was at Hamilton. So Hamilton is not the gym that you keep saying it is. It's not. If you go on there, you'll see there's kids fighting in the corner and everything. I have video of it too, so.
One thing I didn't say is during a non-agenda public comment, the board cannot respond or react to anything. We can kind of give direction maybe to the superintendent, but we are here to listen and just know that. That's just one of the rules that we have to follow. So, the next two speakers are Tim Block and Grace Constantino.
How you doing? Tim Block. I am a teacher at San Marin. I teach in the STEM program. It's the shiny new pony over there at San Marin. I'm also a parent. I have a daughter that is a senior at San Marin, and I'm also a union member. I'm also the vice president in charge of high schools. So I have a lot of roles. I really love this community. I love teaching. And with that role, I wanted to make sure that I thanked the previous board members for being there. It's a lot of time. And I think a lot of times from this perspective as a teacher, they're not thanked or they're not viewed that way. They're viewed as maybe adversary. But I want to make sure they're appreciated. I want to make sure the new board members, thank you for being here. And the ones that have been here listening to me talk to you for many, many sessions in the past, that I appreciate you sitting there because it's not an easy gig. You don't get a lot of stuff for being there. So I want to know that you are appreciated, at least at that level from me, for being there. We probably don't agree on a lot of things and haven't in the past. But I appreciate you for sitting there and listening to me. That's huge. So I'm going to step back. That was my thank you, and then I'm going to step forward. But as you move forward and you're making decisions from this point forward, you're going to make some really, really tough ones. I talked to you about that last week about, the superintendent and the new superintendent coming in and big shoes to fill. And there are other many big decisions. When you were in closed session, you had to make decisions of giving guidance to the superintendent of what that guidance is. I don't know what it is. I'll find out in the near future. But what is that guidance? What are you guiding to? You have the budget in front of you. You have people telling you what that budget is and what windows you can operate in. I challenge you to say, those windows aren't what they're telling you. Ask a lot of probing questions. Because when I look at the budget and when I see the outcome, somehow they don't match. And so when you're up there, I'm not sure how many questions you ask the CFO when they present the budget of what is restricted money, what is not restricted money, what shell has been moved into restricted, what is a restricted defined as. Because I think a lot of those monies are a lot more fluid than I think they give you credit for, or you've been told. And the new board members, you get to come in with a fresh mind. I'm not sure if the district attorney has talked to you yet, but they're going to tell you what you can and can't do. Some of those things are hard, some of those things are on the soft side. I challenge you to ask a lot of questions and see where you can and can't go. Because you have a lot of teachers and a lot of staff that are really hard and are making tough decisions between now and June. Do they stay or do they go? And by the work that I'm doing as on the negotiation committee to working with the superintendent and many of the assistant superintendents, a lot of those decisions are going to be made between now and June. And I think they get an early signing bonus in January, but please consider that. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome. Some of you know me, but my name is Grace Cosentino, and I'm a teacher at San Jose Middle School. I teach AVID, 7th grade science, 8th grade science. I'm the Pride and Feminism Club advisor, and I'm the AVID site co-coordinator. I'm here to talk today about your proposed raise of 10%. We are in a teacher shortage. I know you're very well aware of that, as everybody else here is. At my site, currently right now, there's at least 6 teachers working a 1.2 and higher. So 1.2 is going like above your full time. So they're teaching 6, possibly 7 classes a day. Each site in the district have teachers working past that 1.0 status. Why is this? Where did all of our teachers go? Well, like you've heard before, they live for higher paying jobs. I'm guessing that the teachers who are currently working at a 1.2 or 1.4 probably are not going to be doing that next year. They're going to be tired. They're going to be burnt out, bringing us into an even deeper crisis than we're currently facing. Last week, we had some amazing science teachers from our high school come and talk about possibly not being able to accept students into programs simply just due to staffing. It's unacceptable, and it's definitely avoidable. The answer is there, and it's just like you are trying to offer a wage that is competitive for our possible, or for our new superintendent, we have to be competitive with our teacher wages. The 10% that you're proposing should also not be given with any strings attached. It is to keep up with our own costs of living increases. Gas is over $5, sometimes $6 a gallon. Just to buy meat, fish, and eggs, that cost is up 8%. Fruit and vegetables, 9.3. Electricity, 14.1. Utility, 20%. Utility gas, 20%. Rent, 7.5. So that 10% is so we don't drown in debt. It's so we can pay our bills, provide housing to our families, afford healthy food, and get gas in order to get to work. And honestly, to pay off student loans. Your staff currently does not deserve this. It's adding to our stress. It's wanting us to leave this profession. I came into teaching with so much passion and joy to be working with people and getting them excited and passionate about science because I hated science when I was in middle school. I almost didn't graduate high school because of science. And now I have the opportunity to engage, inspire, and empower students so that they can follow their pursuit and their dreams in science. Thank you.
The next 2 speakers is Megan Pereira and Melinda McCall-Fleming.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Superintendent Derby, and welcome to our new Board of Trustees. My name is Megan Pereira, and I teach Spanish and credit recovery at San Marin High School. I'm here tonight again addressing the concern of fair pay and salary increase for me and my colleagues. I started at NUSD in 2019 with my first position at Novato High.
I came here after 9 years in various districts in Sonoma County. After being bounced around for so many years, I was wondering where my career was going and whether or not I should consider a different career path. However, when my first students walked into my classroom at NHS, that all changed for me. They came in with smiles on their faces and had this desire and hunger to learn. When I saw this, I thought to myself, I have found my niche at NUSD. I still feel this to this very day at San Marin High School, with my students coming in with that same desire and hunger to learn. The students have also shown resilience, and no matter what obstacles come their way, they still find a way to come to school and thrive. Our students are the heart of the school district. We not only have incredible students, but incredible teachers who work day and night, making sure these students have what they need to succeed in life. My colleagues and I go above and beyond our professional responsibilities by making sure our students have their learning needs met. We have also shown resilience. We have had to adjust our teaching styles from virtual learning through a global pandemic to rewriting past lessons to meet the social emotional needs of all of our students. Our teachers are also the heart of the school district. We have asked that you give us a 13% pay increase without increasing our workload and making tutorial a part of this increase. With the rising cost of gas, housing, food, as well as benefits, it will be very difficult for us to serve our students, which would mean making decisions that we may not necessarily want to make. Most of us have gone through 5 or more years of school and have advanced degrees, yet we are still living paycheck to paycheck, wondering how we can put food on the table. There are a million reasons for us to leave, but only one reason for us to stay. The reason is that we love our students and we want to continue serving them. You can help us by giving us the 13% increase that we deserve, because we will be able to help build stronger relationships with our students for years to come. Because once a student enters our classroom, they are not only our students for 1 year, but they are our students for life. Thank you so much.
Good evening, and congratulations to you, to all of you that are new in office, and hooray for the teachers. I pray that you do get the increase that you deserve. I came to Marin in 1999 and have been in the bottle since 2001. I'm a mother of 4. My oldest is 30, and my youngest is 22, and now I have 4 grandchildren, but they're allowed to call me grandmom, but not grandmother. And I currently have a granddaughter in Hamilton, who I have had in my care since 4 months old, and she is a mixed race. She's half Latino and half African American, and just watching her struggle at Hamilton after Mr. Hospital left, promised to encourage me to keep her there because my children went there and graduated from there. Just this year alone, she's been slapped in the face. I tried to come to the school for communication. Because there were no witnesses, it wasn't taken seriously. Today, it understands why they were a little bit more attentive to me today, because I guess they had visitors on staff. They went on a field trip. My granddaughter was pushed off the bus. We had been intimidated by the parents. My phone number was somehow given out. I have text message of communications of them telling their daughter to whip my 8-year-old granddaughter, you know what, and just unkind things. But my problem is we have a new person named Miss Jones, and she's just been really, really passive aggressive. When I went to go finally meet with her, she told me she only had a few minutes. When I get in there, she spent 8 minutes of that time telling me that she knew me from San Ramon, and I, told her that wasn't me because there was 2 students. I have 2 Demaries, a Demari and Duran. We went to San Ramon, but we spent most of that time me telling her that I was not that parent. You have the wrong, stamp. So when it got time to tell her my issues about my granddaughter, she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to run. I have nobody to cover the classrooms." So she was, assistant principal now, having to go and cover classroom. It makes sense why there's not enough coverage to monitor these kids. But being spit on, tackies wiped on my granddaughter's desk, she's afraid to come to school now. She tells me every morning, I have a headache, my stomach hurt, just read just don't want to be a part of the Novato School District. I reached out to someone here last Thursday, and then they told me to put in an incident report, which I worked on, and plan on turning it in. Then they told me to attend this meeting tonight just to, get back familiar, because like I said, my youngest is 22. Now I'm back here again trying to be supportive because my son is away at school while I'm caring for his daughter. And but thank you for listening, and thank you, teachers.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Irma Mannion.
All right. Good evening, NUSD board member, Superintendent Derby. My name is Irma Mannion. I am an Elementary Executive Vice President for Novato Federation of Teachers. I want to address the importance of attracting and retaining teachers for Novato schools by sharing my personal experience of being a Novato teacher. In 1997, I was offered a teaching position in the San Rafael School District and the Novato School District. At that time, San Rafael was offering an additional $2,000 in salary compared to Novato. I chose to take the Novato position because my children were attending Novato schools, and I could easily drive across town if there was an emergency regarding any one of them. I've been at Loma Verde Elementary School since then, having taught kindergarten through 3rd grade. I presently teach 1st grade. The importance of retaining teachers at our schools is that we are woven into the fabric of the school community, which is made up of fellow colleagues, students, parents, and proprietors of local businesses. By being at Loma Verde for more than 25 years, not only do I have long-time relationships with my teaching colleagues, but I also have formed lasting relationships with many members of the parent community. Our school community is so culturally and economically diverse. It is this diversity that makes it unique and special. The span of parental financial diversity is from parents who can easily afford to send their children to private school to parents who are working 2 full-time jobs to make ends meet. I have had the privilege of teaching dozens upon dozens of siblings from multiple families. It has been a joy watching these students grow academically and reach adulthood. This year, I am teaching the 2nd child of a former 2nd grade student. This spring, I had the honor of attending the Dominican University graduation of a former 2nd grade student who came to the United States not speaking a word of English. Many second language learners that I have had the privilege of teaching are attending or have graduated from CSU Sonoma, Sacramento, San Francisco, UCLA, UCSB, UC Santa Cruz, UC Berkeley, and even Stanford University. Because I teach and reside in Novato, I've had the privilege of supporting businesses owned by parents of former students. It is priceless to enter a business establishment and be on a first-name basis with the employer and the employees. Having my children attend Novato schools wove us into the school and the city's sports community. I've appreciated the educators that my 4 children had. These educators are also my extended colleagues. While our children worked part-time jobs during their college years, my colleagues and I have taken on second jobs and parent loans so that our children do not graduate with massive student debt. In conclusion, it has been an honor teaching every child that has walked through the threshold of my classroom. I so appreciate and value the community that I work and live in. So the only way to attract and retain quality teachers is for Novato schools to offer their employees competitive wages that they will be able to live on. Thank you so much.
All right, that concludes our non-agenda public comment, and I'll just thank the community and teachers for coming out to speak before the board. That's what this is all about, and so thank you for expressing your thoughts with the board. Moving on to discussion action item, this is 14A. This is approval of the 22-23 first interim budget report.
Okay. Oh, new faces. That's kind of fun. Hello.
And the board has the PowerPoint hard
Yes,
copy.
this is the
Is that your
PowerPoint hard
table?
copy.
And a revision to the unrestricted general fund page 13 in your.
Has one correction on it.
There's one correction, okay?
Okay, so I will go through this. It is our first interim report, the first official report of 22-23 since the adopted budget. And, okay, so we are required to do this by Assembly Bill 1200, which gives the county office oversight to make sure that we are being fiscally prudent in our activity. And one of the reports we need to do is first interim. And this is timed at this point because at this point of the year, let's go back a little bit. We do budget. The state hasn't adopted their budget yet. The state adopts the budget. We do a 45-day revise to reflect any changes that the state budget may have put into effect that we didn't include in our adopted budget. And then school starts, and we get to find out what our true enrollment is. We get to find out what our true staffing is, and that is the basis for the first interim. So we solidify some of those figures. We have a few months in. We can see what our spending is looking like for this year. So all of those things go into the creation of this report. And so when we look at this report, we want to see what are the changes. We thought it was going to be a certain way at budget, and we put the numbers in that way, and now we have some more facts that we can add into this report to show how we're moving through time with our budget. So we have that for our actual financial report, and then we look at a multi-year, and we take the assumptions that we know right now and put those in. Come January, we will start to hear about what the state's going to do for next year. And then when we get to our second interim in March, we will use some of the assumptions that the governor's state budget will have for our projections for future years. So it's a very fluid process, and we are changing our assumptions all the time as reality descends upon us in more than one way. Okay, so this is, I don't know how visible that is up on the screen, but you have it in your packet of, this is the unrestricted fund first interim as compared to adopted budget. And we pick unrestricted because restricted funds are funds that have a given purpose for which to be spent. And they're often a set amount, and it's not, we don't have that much discretion. We can choose often how we want to spend the restricted funds, but it is for that purpose, and there's a set amount. We have a budget we have to live within. We cannot, I mean, we certainly could overspend, but then it becomes a general fund expense to supplement that restricted fund. So in general, unrestricted is where the major decisions are made. It's where we can decide to give a raise to our employees. This is the money that we have to do our day-to-day operations of the district. So if you look at this, and one of the more important columns is the change column. That is, as I said, it's important to look at the changes on first interim from budget. So you can see going down, well, look, we have a $2.5 million increase in revenue, which that's a very good thing. And that pretty much reflects the changes that you saw at the 45-day revise. It is the state budget added a boost to the LCFF funding formula of over 6%, above and beyond the statutory COLA. And they also gave us some protection on ADA. We'll get to calculate the ADA with a 3-year average, which helps us after the COVID years and the hit to ADA that we got. So that's very nice that we have increased revenue. All other revenues, that $125,000, that's more a timing issue of something that we weren't aware of at, this actually represents leases and rentals. It was not put in the adopted budget. We have a pretty good idea that we will have at least that much income in that category, so that was added to the budget. And then we go down to salaries and benefits. Well, an increase in those of 4.3 million. And that's mainly due to the fact that we had more students come this year than we expected. So we were scrambling to add teachers to our staffing at the beginning of the year. That number also represents all the teachers that are working extra because we couldn't hire enough teachers. So we have to pay many of our current teachers 0.2 or 0.4 full-time equivalent FTE above their normal 1.0. This represents overages that teachers are getting. That had to be added to the budget. At budget, we did not expect the high number of overages that we now understand are going to be this year because we've had to put more students in classes than we had planned to because of lack of teachers. It represents an increase in subrate. So there's many things that fall into that number to cause that increase. And other expenditures, there's a $384,000 difference. Some things went down, some things went up. I have a slide that shows more specific changes. I'll hold off talking about that till we get there because there are some significant ones. What's especially significant, I think, is our ending fund balance. If you go down to the bottom, we had at budget predicted $18.8 million of our ending fund balance, unrestricted that is, and we're actually going to end up now, with the assumptions we have today, at 19.5 million. So that's the offset between of course, the increased revenues and the increase in expenditures also. So a change of 664,000. So this is just a quick overview of this year. What becomes more important, and I want to point out one other thing. The beginning fund balance you see at budget is 14.1 million. That beginning fund balance is calculated prior to closing the books. So then we go through the whole summer and close the books, and the true beginning balance then gets rolled over. So that was the 16.3 million. So that's the dollars that fell out, as they say, when we closed the books, budgets that we had on the books that didn't get spent of $2.2 million. Okay, any questions on this slide? Okay. So here are the changes I was talking about. So as we talked about, the revenue for local control funding formula, LCFF, increased by $2.6 million. Certificated salaries, just the salaries, 2.8 million. We discussed where that came from. Classified salaries decreased by 158, and that was, we have not added that many classified positions, and we cleaned up some of the vacancies. We had a lot of vacancies that were showing up in the budget, and we cleaned those up. So that actually decreased the total. Employee benefits increased by 779,000. And that is a reflection of the benefits associated with the salaries. And then we had services and other operating expenditures increase by 1.3 million. And I wanted to give some detail on that because that's a big number, and that made quite a difference to our ending balance. So let me go, it's in the narrative on our changes page.
Go ahead. Trustee Gasson has a question.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted clarification. The LCFF revenue increase of the 2.7 million. So is that because of additional students that we had that we were not expecting, and is it also the increase that we received?
It's a combination.
Okay, so when we look at the numbers that we got from the state, then the amount in dollar amount for is about 2.7, but our salaries increased more than that. I'm just for perspective, like we received more money, but we're still spending more money for our teachers, correct? With these two numbers? I feel like
that number for certificated salaries is not right. There's no way. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, don't be sorry. I'm the one.
So you're looking at the 2.695, right? And you're comparing that to what other number? The
Well, I was actually
2.896,
just for
yeah.
perspective. I wasn't
Just want to make
actually.
sure I had caught that. Okay.
Yeah, no, I just was realizing that even though we increased in our income, we still have more expense. That was all I was.
Yes, you're right. And
I didn't
so
look
let
at
me-
the numbers,
Let
so.
me get back to you with exactly what that number makes up. But it's more than just salaries. As I said, it's the overages and the subs.
Yeah.
So it's all that extra cost.
Okay, no, that was okay. It wasn't so much well, there's the numbers, but I was more coming from a perspective that we every time we get more money, it doesn't necessarily mean
Oh,
we have more
exactly,
money and that we already
exactly.
spent more than we actually got. So that
It
was all I
costs
was
money
just confirming.
to educate the kids. There's a net difference.
Yeah.
I'm not finding the detail that I thought I had written out, but one of the things I wanted to make sure you understood is one of the differences. Special ed costs have gone up tremendously, and I don't have the exact numbers other than we have many more children going to non-public schools, and we have limited bus drivers. And what happens is many of the school kids then, our bus drivers mostly drive children to the MCOE programs. I think they do hit some of the non-public schools, but not all of them. We end up using a cab company to transport some of our kids. We set up the budget for the cab company this year at $285,000, which I'll tell you, when I came into Novato and I saw we were spending that much on cabs, I said, we got to do something about that. So far, that has not been a change I've been able to manage. I got a call from our transportation department about a month ago saying, you need to add $545,000 to that PO. That's how much we're using the cab. That was shocking to me, but it's a real expense, and so it's going to be close to $800,000 this year for cab expense. On top of that, all those new non-public schools cost anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 a year. We have some residential programs that have come in this year. So the special ed costs are really hitting the budget hard. We have not been able to find special ed teachers, but that doesn't mean we can't serve the children. So we've been hiring a lot of people from agencies, and the people from agencies cost more generally because there's a middleman. There's the agency that takes a profit. So you will see at the end of the year that I think our special ed costs will be quite a bit higher than in previous years. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay. All right, so here is the multi-year projection for unrestricted. I guess most people can't even see it, so I'll just go through it. The LCFF sources, the first line for revenue, it continues to increase. There's an assumption that our enrollment is going to be going up for the next 2 years, and that assumption is based on the fact that we're able to add TK students every year. We're adding 2 months to the age range that we can accept in TK. So we're assuming the rest of our population will stay solid, and then we'll add some TK kids. So between that and the projected COLAs by the Department of Finance, we have a steady increase in revenue over the next 2 years. We've pretty much assumed, as you can see, it's holds steadily. Our state and federal revenues are assumed to hold. Salaries and benefit, the only difference in this assumption are step and column. We aren't assuming any other kinds of changes. And all other expenditures, I think that's a small 2 to 3% increase, which may or may not reflect reality. But often as inflation goes up, there are things we do have to pay for, but there are things we stop paying for because we don't have as much money. So we have, our total expenditures across the board are less than our total revenues, although then we get down to the total sources and uses, and that's where our contribution to special ed comes in. So the contribution number that you see 2/3 of the way down in the first column, it's in parentheses, 13,956.85. That is not just special ed. We also contribute about $2.5 million to our routine and restricted maintenance budget. We, in this year, and I swear I changed it, please, those years are not correct at the top. That should be 22, 23, and then 23, 24, and 24, 25. So in 22, 23, which says 21, 22. Oh, is it? Okay, on the slide it's wrong. So the 13.9 is special ed contribution, routine and restricted maintenance contribution, some small contributions to other little programs, but also this reflects the parcel tax paying back the general fund. So it offsets. In the, so parcel tax is reflected as revenue in the, it's reflected in revenue in the first column, but the impact, and I'm sorry this is confusing, is down in that total sources and uses. And when it flips up to 18.4 and 18.7, that is reflecting the lack of parcel tax. And parcel tax is a restricted revenue, so it doesn't show up in the revenue on this form. It shows in the contribution line. And so we have a higher contribution. It's a bigger expense in those 2 years out because there's no parcel tax. Here we're assuming we're not getting a parcel tax because the election hasn't happened. We can't assume that revenue. But we're also assuming all those expenditures are staying in the budget. So the general fund has to cover those expenditures that the parcel tax had been covering before. So that's why that's so much bigger. But in spite of that, we continue to increase our fund balance. You can see we're starting with the 16,376. That harks back to the financial statement we had before. And we add that net increase, that's the bold number, the 3.1 million, the 2.8 million, the 5.7. We add in all 3 years that to that beginning balance as it rolls forward. And we end our third year with 28 million in unrestricted. So this is quite a different picture than we were looking at just a year ago. I know that's confusing. Any questions? And we're going to have special meetings, so we can help you get to this.
Trustee Miller?
Just to be clear, I didn't quite follow the impact of where does the parcel tax fall out in the numbers?
So
you said
this
you
is
stopped assuming it.
we have the unrestricted side of the budget and the restricted side of the budget.
Yep.
Parcel tax is regarded as restricted.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't show in revenues on this chart.
Okay.
But then the general fund will have to contribute to pay all those expenses.
Okay, I follow now. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Trustee Gasson.
If I can just make a request, because since this slide isn't the same as the information, can it just be updated and
Of
then
course.
reloaded up to the?
Yes, before we add it to the, there's somewhere she puts it.
Yeah,
that-
I'm just
yes,
thinking.
we'll fix it.
Because, yeah, I started getting confused and just went to this, which
Yep.
is easier. Thank you.
Definitely. Yes.
I noticed in the narrative there's some talk about money that might be coming around transportation.
Yes.
I just wondered if you would speak to how that works for a district that doesn't do transportation, really.
Well, we get transportation funding, and we use it to transport our special ed kids. And so they're giving the new transportation, they look at what we already spend and then give us a piece. So if I remember correctly, and I did not spell it all out, total, we spend $2.1 million on transportation. Previously, our funding was about 700,000, and we're getting about another 650. So that, it supports us, because what happened in the past is when we have a $2.1 million cost and we only get $700,000, we have to pay the difference. So now we're getting some funding that will help us not have to contribute as much to our transportation costs. So it's a boost to the general fund of about $650,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Add something?
Yep, go ahead.
So I actually circled that because I wanted to actually bring to everyone's attention that it even specifically says it will pay 60%. I mean, there's so many things within school finance that's exasperating that they only pay a portion, but expect certain levels of service and everything. And so when I saw that, I was like, it's great because it's in the right direction, but that's when, our money just disappears. And it's not from, we might get a little bit over here, but we've got to pay over here because the state hasn't funded that.
But I did take a big sigh of relief when they took away the
requirement.
Mandate.
Yeah, no, I was on that. Well, and I advocated actually in several different forums with Senator McGuire, CSBA, because I kept saying for our district, and what we're talking about is basically the requirement of providing transportation for students. I can't even fathom how we would do that in a district this size with lack of, bus drivers.
Well, with lack of drivers would be
possible.
Everything.
There's so many components that we just would not be successful, especially if it's not fully funded. So I agree. Right. It was at least a good move to get more funding and not have that mandate.
The next slide, we're not going to go too much in detail, but I wanted to put it in here. This is the combined restricted and unrestricted. So this is what a multi-year looks like when the restricted is folded in. So one of the big changes that you'd see is all other revenues. This year it's $44 million. That includes $12 million of special one-time money that we won't be getting in the future. So that's part of why it's decreased. There's some other one-time monies that are going to be decreased, but there's also the parcel tax is part of that. So between the one-time money that isn't coming in the future years that we know of yet, and the parcel tax having to be assumed to not be part of our budget in the future until that election is successful, we're down to $20 million. But in spite of that, if you follow through on everything, there's a lot of assumption here. We've not made big plans for all our one-time money, so most of it is sitting unspent in this budget. So there's an ending fund balance of $46 million. And I will say on that, by second interim, we will have a better idea of how we're going to spend that one-time money, so it will be reflected in the multi-year at second interim to some degree of how it's going to be spread over the next 2 years. Okay. This is really hard to read, and this is just, it duplicates something that's in the narrative. It's an explanation of how the ending fund balance for Fund 01 is separated out. And my main point here is we have this fund balance in Fund 01, but I always want to add that we have a fund balance that is open to the board for use in Fund 17. And that's a place where boards can choose to create a savings account of sorts, but it's still money that needs to be considered as part of their fund balance when at the end of the year we look at the 10% requirement that the state has put on our ending fund balance. So that's $5.2 million that would be in addition to this $37 million. Okay.
Can you talk about that, the $9 million we haven't assigned and committed just for our new board members? Just
Sure. At the end of the year, we are held to 10% of fund balance that is unassigned, and so last year we were more than that. The board had some discussion and came up with some commitments, they're called, of pieces of the fund balance to hold in trust, in balance, however you want to say it, for other uses. So they assigned, I believe, $5 million to deferred maintenance, $1 million to asset management. That's 5, 6.
$2 million.
$2 million to technology. I'm missing $1 million somewhere.
No, that's right.
That add up to 9? 5,
No.
2, 1. No, that's 8.
Yeah.
We're missing $1 million. There was, maybe it was $6 million that ended up in deferred maintenance. Could that be true? I thought there were only 3 things. We can verify that, but that is a practice we'll go through at the end of the school year if we end up with a fund balance that's over 10%. That
the resolution is only 8.2, sir.
Oh, okay.
So
Then
you're,
that-
yeah, so you're fine.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, and then I wanted to also highlight the pots of restricted money. These are the biggest ones. It doesn't reflect everything, but it's the lion's share of it. We have I'll go through the boxes left to right, top to bottom. Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, $2 million. That is a program we need to figure out how we're going to implement that. I know that we're in the process of hiring someone who will run all that. This is the program where we are required to have engagement for our students 9 hours a day, including 30 days in the summertime. And that amount you see there is approximately what we will get annually to run that program. Educator effectiveness, that's what's in the budget right now. We have 2 more years to spend that money, and it's basically for professional development. Lottery instructional materials, that's an ongoing amount of money, but this is what the balance is at this point. And that is divided between the school sites and the district office for use in purchasing instructional materials. We have the Arts Music Instructional Materials Grant, which that's part of what our big planning early in next year will be, $4.5 million to be spent over the next few years. The A to G Access Success Grant, $632,000, which I believe is in process. That is something that Ed Services is working on. There was a plan that was submitted to the board a year or so ago, but I have not followed up to see how that's being spent. And now, just to confuse you, there's the Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant versus program, and that is otherwise known as COVID money, and that we're in the last bits of spending. There's $502,000 unencumbered right now. Our new quote-unquote COVID money is the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant of $6.5 million, which I believe we have 5 years to spend. And that's, again, for the same types of things that the COVID money was for, to make up for lost learning over the COVID years. And then other restricted local, which basically covers, Novato has an unusual number of grants, which is just lovely, local grants, both at the site level and at the district level. The balances, as of today, are a little over $1 million. Okay, yep.
May I?
Trustee Miller?
Thank you. Just to be clear, when we were looking at the ending fund balances, I'm looking at the bottom, Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, $6 million. Is that $6 million in that ending fund balance in the numbers today? So it's in our bank account, but it's restricted because we have to spend it for these purposes, and if we don't, we would have to give it back. If we spend it for some other purpose, we bought volleyballs or something, that wouldn't be, so that ending fund balance.
Connect volleyballs to learning recovery.
Yeah, well, I'll work on that. Okay, so some of that ending fund balance is really constrained and in reserve because it's going to get spent over a couple of years as we
Yes.
build the programs to benefit the students for the purpose of the grant. Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Jacobson?
I wanted to just mention that some of these buckets reminded me of some comments I heard in the education department around if any teachers or sites have conferences or professional development things that they would like to go to over the summer or at any time that isn't what we normally do for teachers on site, we have funds for that. And
Yes,
if
we
they
do.
will submit any proposals, that department can send out a list of things, but really the things that touch a teacher's own interest can be the most effective. So if anyone out there's listening and would like to do these things, those will definitely be looked at and granted. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Trustee Bickus?
Just clarification, when we were looking at page 7, the combined restricted and unrestricted funds, you said that we have a chunk of one-time money and we're determining how we're going to use that. Is that this pot?
Yes.
So this money that has not, there's no solid plan for yet is in these different buckets.
That's exactly right.
And there's a plan that's being developed that you'll come back with to talk about how this money is being used.
You got it.
Got it. Great, thanks.
Trustee Gasson?
As a follow-up to that, one of the things I wondered, I was excited about some of these different buckets, and actually there was one related to like reading materials and, helping our, getting instructional and reading materials for kids that speak other languages. I was
Yes.
super excited about that because I really have a focus this year on making sure kids are able to read and get excited about reading. So that was interesting, which then led me to the whole thought process about, that I'm a parent and have some thoughts on what our schools might need and wondered if there would be an opportunity while you're discussing how this money might be spent to also get community input or.
Of course. Yes, that's
the
definitely,
feedback from those
with
sides.
this amount of money, I think that's really important.
The Budget Advisory Committee has talked about that and is possibly a place where people could add
That's a
comment.
great idea.
From the public.
And then I think it's been said, but just can't say it enough, on your report on page 3, that almost 14.4 million is restricted one-time funding. Because I know that it looks like we have all this money, which
Right.
we do. It's been fabulous. But that acknowledging that there's specific reasons that we have all this money.
The planning for this type of money is very different than the planning for the day-to-day expenditures.
Right, and then it's not going to continue on, so whatever is developed needs to be with the thought that we may not have funding to continue something and to capitalize on what we have right now, so I think that's great. And I will, that's it, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? This is a action item. We do this time of year, every year. So I would need a motion if we're ready to move forward from the board. Yes, Trustee?
Approval of the interim budget, first interim budget for 2022-2023.
Thank you. First by Trustee Millerick. Any second? Second by Trustee Jacobson. All those in favor to approve the first interim budget? Okay, 7-0 and 1 advisory vote from our student board member. Thank you. All right, item 14B, this is acceptance of the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee for 2020-21, and it's the annual report.
So I have not been in a district where there's a parcel tax
paperclip
before.
for that thing.
And I have watched this Parcel Tax Oversight Committee work very hard to bring this report to you. I'm very proud of all the input from the committee. I think, as Trustee Gasson said last week, it's a robust committee, and that it is, which is very exciting. I appreciate greatly all the work that Ashley Albertson put into this. She worked very hard to get input and to process all the feedback. And we have tonight one of the members of the committee, Alan Harris, and he's going to present the report to you on behalf of the committee.
Thanks, Lois.
Now that I've been introduced properly, let me say, President Butler and trustees of the district, And Superintendent Derby, you all know who I am. I wear a tie rarely in these meetings, but when I'm a presenter.
It's like
I
a
thought I
retro
wanted to show.
presentation, yeah.
It's my pleasure to present the Parcel Tax Annual Report for the year 2020-2021, which is what we're calling the COVID year. Taking a brief jaunt back to that time, the school district began 2020-21 with our schools closed for in-person instruction. We had repurposed the student Chromebooks computers and conducted emergency staff training to establish a distance learning opportunity to continue to educate our students while not in person. We ended that year, one last point. During that year, unlike many other businesses, we continued to pay full pay for all our teachers, our certified staff, and our administrators. And we ended the year, June 30th, 2021, in a limited receivership that was imposed by the Marin County Office of Education under terms of AB 1200. And with an appointed interim superintendent, Dr. Derby, which followed a mass exodus of senior administrators in the district, the superintendent, the assistant superintendents for instruction, personnel, and business and operations. It was quite a year. For all those reasons, the Parcel Tax Administration was impacted very considerably. During the year, $4,010,000 was collected in parcel taxes. That money and the parcel tax program is classified as a restricted program because the funds can be used and can be expended only for purposes that are proposed by the Board of Trustees in the expanded ballot language presented to the voters. That was done for the current parcel tax on the 8th of February 2014. And of course, last week, the board passed its resolution to continue that same parcel tax for basically the same purposes, and the specification in the Ed Code for the language you adopted in your order of election, which is item number 2 in your resolution. You can go back and check that if you want. When the district's auditors review our expenditures for the parcel tax, they follow that language as the basis for their determination of whether the expenditures are allowable or not. That's why it's a restricted program. I'd like to reiterate a report that was presented to the board on the 8th of February this year by our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations, Lois Standring. Her her memoranda transmitted the audit for the year 2021. And I'm quoting from the report now, her memo. The audit did not reveal any material weaknesses, and there were no financial statement findings, and there were no federal or state award findings of questionable costs. That summary, which is in page 79 through 83 of the 2021 annual audit for the district, encompass the parcel tax. So everything that was spent under the parcel tax was included and authorized. In closing, I want the trustees to know that all of the district's income and expenditures are tracked through our district's accounting system by a system of numerical codes. The parcel tax program and its income code is 8621. Each school site has its own code as an expenditure site, as do departments here in the central office and in in many of our support offices as well. Each school site has its expenditure accident. And every expenditure has a code. The families of codes, 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000, are the codes for salaries, benefits, and employment taxes. So basically, the accounting system can give you a three-way location of what happened, where it happened, what it was for, what money was used for it, and what did it go for. So it's an excellent system. By my personal review of the district's accounting statements for the fiscal year 2021, parcel tax expenditures, in addition to the $30,000 fee, which is our collection expense, it's an outside contract, which is noted in the annual report that Ashley prepared and the advisory committee reviewed and approved, made some changes to it. And it's noted in that report. There was approximately $142,000 in allowable costs other than salaries and benefits. And those are for the items in the pie chart. All of the money in the 34% chunk of the pie for retaining qualified teachers went for salaries and benefits. So in summary, by the way, the 142 is primarily went for the pie chart sections in libraries and athletics, fees, and some equipment and some materials. In summary, know that the parcel tax overwhelming share of tax collections went for non-administrative salaries and benefits of staff. Be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Board members?
I encourage you to adopt the annual report.
Yeah, thank you.
Prepared.
Thank you, Alan.
You got that?
Comments, questions? Trustee Gasson.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alan, for presenting. And I just want to say that the team did work really hard on what you have in front of you, and that a lot of credit goes to Ashley for synthesizing all of the input that she received. She did a really good job in taking all of the different perspectives and creating something that the full committee wanted to present tonight. So thank you all.
Thank you. Welcome to our new trustees, by the way.
Anybody else? No? Okay. This is an action item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan, very much for being the presenter this evening. We have, how many, what did we approve? 6 new members to the committee recently. So there was Alan's been serving for, I don't know how long, but has we can count on him. So thank you. Discussion action item. So we take some action.
To approve.
Okay. First by Trustee Mack and a second by Trustee Lametta. All those in favor of approving this Oversight Committee report? Thank you. 7-0 and 1 advisory vote. All right. And thank you to the community for continuing to support our parcel tax. It's local money that stays right here in our district and goes right to the classroom. So thank you very much for doing that. Moving on to item 14C. This is a facility-related item. This is approval of resolution number 11 for 22-23, finding BHM Construction as best value contractor and approval of award of a leaseback agreement to BHM for the track and field placement project at San Jose Middle School and Sinaloa Middle School. Hi, John.
Yeah, I'm starting to get used to it.
Do you, the little table's right here.
I'm good.
You're okay? Okay.
I know not to touch them.
Yeah, it's very touchy, very.
Yeah. So tonight we're bringing to you the resolution for leaseback contractor, BHM Construction. Back in mid-November, we received proposals and qualifications from several contractors. It was narrowed down to 4 contractors that were interviewed on December 1st. And based on the board's approved selection for best value contractor, we believe BHM should be awarded the contract for leaseback for the Sinaloa and San Jose Middle Schools track and field projects.
Okay. Board members, comments, questions? Trustee Mack and then Trustee Gasson.
I fully support this, and I just want to take a quick moment to say how much I appreciate BHM's relationship with us. They're not just a vendor who builds stuff. Their pride of ownership and their willingness to work with us, I've never seen that from any of the vendors. I'm guessing you might say the same thing too, but I just want to say it from one trustee's perspective that really appreciate all the partnership they have with us and just going the extra mile for all the projects they've done for us. And with that, I'll move to approve.
Okay, so we have a first, and then we'll go to by Trustee Mack, second by Trustee Millerick, and I have a comment by Trustee Gasson. And a comment. You're okay doing the second, Trustee? Okay.
I actually just had a question as I was processing this. So are there enough staff and everything to do both sites simultaneously, or is it one location and the other?
So the way the contract would work, both sites would be happening simultaneously.
Okay, thank you.
And comment, Trustee Millerick?
Yeah, John, thanks for bringing this forward. Just for clarification for the community, for scope of work at Sinaloa, I understand it's the track, the quarter-mile track, and the field inside the quarter-mile track. It's not the other fields up at the front of the campus or the ball fields. It is strictly that track. Is that
correct?
Is that
It's strictly that track and the field inside of that track.
Right. Okay. So that's that, and then a similar clarification for the San Jose campus. What's included?
San Jose would be the same, where it would be the track and the field inside of the track, as well as at San Jose, since we are impeding into that blacktop surface area, we need to do some restriping and actually account for adding another couple pickleball courts and basketball court.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yes. Go right ahead. Trustee Mack.
And last time we talked about this, the question came up, you're going to know where I'm going. The all-weather track as opposed to asphalt for the track. I know that's something you're going to look into. Is that something you're still anticipating to try to fit into the scope, or where does that stand?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is when we go out to get numbers, we're going to ask for the numbers for the track as well, for the synthetic rubber surfacing.
As
Absolutely, yes.
All right, so we have a first by trustee Mack and a second by trustee, oh, yes, yeah, go right ahead.
We did approve that add-on though, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I
Yes.
keep getting questions about it that feel very ambiguous, so I wanted to just say that out loud. Okay, thank you.
I think the cost change will come back to the board. That's where
that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so not necessarily separate line items.
So
as much as-
it'll be separated in terms of the numbers that we receive so that we could break it out or identify, what that is. But we'll have to come back to you for that.
We
did decide for sure. That's what I just said. Yes, we did.
I think we have to, the change needs to come back, and we need to approve the change in the cost of the project. That's going to come back. So, yes. Right. Right.
So we do one last approval.
Right, that was the piece
It's
though
not
that.
final, but the board had consensus that we wanted.
No, I understand that. We also talked about changing the fence or there was some components that we were going to look at based on what the numbers came back. That's
Right.
how I understood it. Not that we were 100% doing it, but we had to come back with the numbers for it. Because that was also when we were talking about the bond, the remaining funds too, to have that perspective of it and how the impact of that.
And for both of these projects we're going over tonight, we're going to come back to you with the total
Right.
base resolution. to-
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay, first by trustee Mack and a second by trustee Miller. All those in favor? 7-0 and one advisory. And then moving on to the second facility item. This is again the same thing, but this is for the Marin Oaks HVAC and roof replacement, or excuse me, Hill Education Center.
Yeah, so again, kind of followed the same process where mid-November we received qualifications and proposals from prospective contractors. Ended up interviewing them for this project on November 29th. And based on the board-approved selection process, Wright Contracting is who we're recommending as best value contractor.
Thank you. Any comments? Trustee Millerick?
For clarification, you've selected a contractor, as we just did in the prior case, but you said that you're bringing back the total cost. So we've selected a contractor, we have a budget item here, but we don't have a final cost. So what are we signing here? Isn't this the contract?
So what you're approving tonight is the resolution for to enter into a contract with Wright Contracting right now. There will be pre-construction services associated with that, identified previously. And then once they bid out the project and come back with the numbers, if within budget, we bring it back to you for as a total base rent that needs to be again board approved as an amendment to that contract.
Okay, so this $4,610,000 is just a good guess. It's not the.
That's our
final number.
schematic estimate.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
been approved. Yeah.
So okay, schematic estimate, which is the best valuation you can establish at this point before you actually talk to subcontractors.
Correct. That's our estimate for what the project will cost.
But we are agreeing to do business with Wright at this point. That's what this is. They are now going to go to work and work up this number.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I just want to be, lease back is a little different than just contract bid. So there's this interim step where you're selecting the vendor and then you're getting the price later.
Yeah, and at this point, we're entering into pre-construction services with them, so.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Any other board members, comments, questions? Okay, this is again another action item, just like the previous one. Anybody would like to make a
I'll move
motion?
approval of the contract with Wright. And just to be clear, I'll wait for the second, then I'll have a comment.
Okay, yeah. Do we have a second? Trustee Jacobson is a second, and comment by trustee
The clarification of the HVAC component of this, we have HVAC for Rancho School, we've got HVAC coming for Lusatton,
yeah.
and this is the HVAC component for the Hill campus. That's correct? That's what this is, right? This covers this district's commitment to bring HVAC to all of the classrooms on that campus? Is that a correct statement?
This is for the Hill campus, the Marin Oaks Hill campus only. We are going to be bringing to you Novato High School HVAC.
Right.
And then also Lou Sutton HVAC.
Right, those are separate.
Those will be separate.
But on the Hill
yes.
campus, is this 100% of the campus, or?
This will bring it to the classrooms that don't have currently have air conditioning. There is some air conditioning on site at a couple of the
Okay.
rooms, but yeah.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure we don't have one more, oh, we forgot, there's another piece, another roof, another building. That's my concern is, that's the question I'm asking. It's not a concern. I just want to ask the question, is the campus done when this is done?
And I think part of that confusion comes from the fact, I think earlier discussions talked about the fact that there was not enough money to do all of Hill and that certain classrooms were going to be chosen, but it was decided that was fairly ludicrous.
A pretty bad idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we are air conditioning the whole site.
I think I just got my question answered. Thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions, I will go ahead and we have a first by trustee Millerick and a second by trustee Jacobson. All those in favor? 7-0 and 1 advisory. Thanks, John. Thank you. All right, our last discussion action item. These are 2 administrative regulations, 4217.3 and 4261.1. And Franny will come and present that to us. These are new policies, new administrative regulations, sorry.
Thank you. Good evening, all, and welcome to our new board members. So before you, these are 2 new administrative regulations. You should have the blue line examples from CSBA as well as a reference point. The drafts before you take into account our current collective bargaining agreements with our CSEA in particular, because that's what these 2 are regarding, are under the area of classified personnel. And for our new board members, what you're going to see in our regulations, a lot of times in the 4000 series, there will be 4100 family, 42, and 43. And 41 is typically our certificated group. 4200 series is classified, and then 43 is typically for administrators. So these 2 are ones that we have not had in our board policy manual before, and in reviewing, I have decided to move them forward to include them. I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Just one of the things, even though we didn't have these policies on our books, doesn't mean that we were not following.
No,
I think that's important to point out.
No, because we always are subject
Most of it's
to
ed
our
code.
Yeah, most of it falls under education code. We always refer to our collective bargaining agreements,
Right.
and so yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Questions? Trustee Miller.
So we need a motion to approve them as a first reading and bring them
First
back
reading.
to a second reading?
Correct.
And that'll give us a chance all to read these now that we've got them, and if there's any questions
Yeah.
at a second reading, have the questions answered and then adopt them. So I will move a first reading, approval as a first reading and bring them back as a second reading, I assume January, whatever meeting is.
10th, yeah. So
Thanks.
we have first by trustee Miller, second. Anybody? Trustee Pickus is a second. Any discussion on these? Nope. And this will give an opportunity for the community and staff to weigh in as well. So all those in favor? 7-0 and 1 advisory.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, you made it through your first meeting. Wow, everybody's ready to go home. So we do want to close with a heavy heart for Sandy Vaughn. So let's make sure. Keep her in your memories, yes. This meeting's adjourned.